Welcome students again into the chemistry class of 11th science. We are learning the properties of the colloidal dispersions. In the last lecture, I already that is tell you about that is properties of the colloidal solutions, that are the dispersion, that is general properties, as well as that of the optical properties. And into optical property, we learn about the Tyndall effect. That is very interesting effect. And it is totally optical. Now, next property of the colloidal solution is the color of the colloidal dispersion. Now, this is also very important property. How the color of the colloidal dispersion changes and how it depends on the wavelength of the scattered light or transmitted light. Now, the color of the colloidal solution depends on the wavelength of the light scattered by the dispersed phase particles. Now, for example, the color of the colloidal dispersion also changes with the manner in which the observer receives the light. For example, if we take a mixture of, that is the few drops of milk and large amount of water, then the color of that mixture of milk and water appears blue when the viewer view from the scatter light, but it appears red when the view can be taken by the viewer by the transmitted light. Now see here, the color of the colloidal dispersion also changes with the manner in which the observer or viewer receive that light. For example, mixture of few drops of milk and large amount of water appears blue when viewed by the scatter light, and it appears red when viewed by the transmitted light. So the color of the colloidal dispersion depends on the wavelength which is scattered by the dispersed phase particles. Again, for example, the color is also depends on the size of the colloidal particles. Now, this is also very important about the color. The size of the colloidal particles, that is, it determines the color of the colloidal dispersion. So, the color is also depends on the size of the colloidal particles, that is the of the dispersed phase particle. For example, finest gold salt, that is the gold salt in which the particles are very fine or very microscopic, ultra microscopic. Of that color of that gold salt in which there are the finest particle of gold appears red in color, whereas with increase in the size of that dispersed phase particles of gold particles, if there is an increase in the size of the gold particle, that gold salt appears purple in color. Now, this is the difference in color due to the size of the dispersed phase particles. So, the finest particles of the gold salt or gold salt containing the finest particle of gold appears red in color, whereas as the size of the gold particles in that gold salt increases, it appears purple in color. Now, this is about the property, that is the color of the colloidal dispersion. Now, next property, fourth property is the kinetic property. Now, these dispersed phase particles also have the kinetic energy, and this is proved by the Albert Brownian, which is the botanist, and he observed this movement, Brownian movement or Brownian motion in case of the pollen grains. So, kinetic property is also there to the dispersed phase particle, and how they get this kinetic energy, let us learn. The colloidal microscopic particles, any colloidal microscopic particle, they are always under the random zigzag motion in all directions as shown in the figure. Now see here, these blue particles are there and they are always in a zigzag manner, but they randomly go from one place to another place. they do not go in their path by undulating motion. They always travel in a straight line but in a zigzag motion in any direction randomly. Now that is the importance. So the any microscopic colloidal particles undergo random zigzag motion in all direction in a fluid if we place them in a fluid. For example, if we take the pollen grains of the flowers in a petri dish containing water, if we add that pollen grains and if we see the pollen grains under the microscope, such type of zigzag motion, random zigzag motion of the pollen grains we can observe. Now this is observed by the Brownian. So this motion is also called as the Brownian motion. So the colloidal microscopic particles, when they undergo random zigzag motion which in the all direction in the fluid, which is called as this motion is called as the Brownian motion. Now British botanist Robert Brown observed such motion of pollen grains under a microscope, and this random motion was then explained by the Albert Einstein in 1905, in the year 1905. Now which are the causes of this motion? There is no any, that is the we only kept that particles in a fluid and we are seeing this motion. There is no any disturbance of that particle due to which they got the motion. We kept the container containing such colloidal particles or microscopic particles in the fluid constant. And still there is the motion of the dispersed phase colloidal particles. So what is the causes or reason behind that? Now there are the two reasons. First is there is constant collision of these dispersed phase particles with that of the molecules of dispersion medium. There is constantly randomly collision, or they get bombarded on each other, that is the particles of dispersed phase and the molecules of the dispersion medium. Due to that, they got the kinetic energy. So the constant collision of particles of dispersed phase with the fast moving molecules of the dispersion medium, that is the fluid, due to that, and also due to this, the dispersed phase particle acquires the kinetic energy, and the molecules of they acquire the kinetic energy from the molecules of that dispersion medium, which is in the form of fluid, and due to that the dispersed phase particle acquires the kinetic energy. So this kinetic energy brings out or brings forth the Brownian motion. Now this is the cause about the Brownian motion. Why there is Brownian motion of the dispersed phase particles in the colloidal dispersion or in the fluid? Now the reason is that the dispersed phase particle constantly collide with the molecules of the dispersion medium, which are constantly in a motion because they are in the fluid form, and due to that the dispersed phase particle acquires the kinetic energy from the dispersion medium molecules, and that is the reason that there is the Brownian motion. Now these are about the color of the colloidal dispersion and kinetic property. Now let us learn the electrical properties of the colloidal dispersions. Now let us learn the electrical properties of the colloidal dispersions. There are three electrical properties of colloidal dispersion, that are the charge on colloidal particles, electroosmosis and electrophoresis. Now let us learn about the charge on colloidal particle. Now the colloidal particles in the colloidal dispersion always have some charge. It may be positive or negative, and that depends upon Which type of colloidal dispersion is that? Now there are two types of charges are present on the colloidal particles or dispersed phase particles in the colloidal dispersions or colloids. Now colloidal particles carry an electric charge. The nature of this charge is the same on all the particles of the given colloidal solution. Suppose there is any given colloidal solution is there, but all the particles in that colloidal solution always have the same charge. Different colloidal dispersions or different colloidal solutions may have different charges on their colloidal particles, but the same colloidal solution have all the particles present in that have the same charge. So the nature of this charge, it may be positive or negative, is the same on all the particle of the given colloidal solution, which can be either, that charge can be either positive or negative. Now here is the table of some colloidal dispersions which have the positive charge or negative charge. Some common salts with the nature of charge are listed in this table. Now see here, the positively charged salts are here and negatively charged salts are here. Now the metal salts are also positive or negative type. So the hydrated metallic oxides, generally the hydrated metallic oxide carry the positive charge on their dispersed phase particles in that salt. So the hydrated metallic oxides such as aluminum oxide, which is hydrated X molecules of water, that means this number is can be changed of water molecule. So this alumina, Al2O3, hydrated alumina, chromic oxide, hydrated chromic oxide, and hydrated this iron oxide. Now all these three hydrated metal oxides always contain the positive charge on their dispersed phase particles in that salt. Again, the metals, only the metal salts such as the copper, silver or gold metal salts are carrying the negative charge in their dispersed phase particles. And also the metallic sulfide salts also have the negative charge in their particles. Now metallic sulfide salts are that is the arsenic sulfide, antimony sulfide and cadmium sulfide. Now all these metal salts of copper, silver, gold and metallic sulfide salts of arsenic, antimony and cadmium sulfide, all these carry the negatively charged particles in that salts. Again, which are the positively charged salts again? The basic diester, the color matter which are basic, the basic diester and the methylene blue salt is also carry the positive charge particles or colloidal particles. But the acidic diester, basic diester carry the positively charged salts, but the acidic diester eosin, that is also the color compound, and Congo red salt, all these carry the negative charge on their particles, dispersed phase particle. The positively charged salts are again the oxides of titanium, that is titanium oxide salt is the positively charged salt, and gelatin, clay, gum salts are negatively charged salts. Now hemoglobin in the blood forms the positively charged salt. Now hemoglobin is the protein and it carries the positive charge. So hemoglobin is the positively charged salt and the salts of starch and gums are the negatively charged salts. Now let us learn the second electrical property of the colloidal dispersion, that is the electroosmosis. Now there is also the electroosmosis. You know that only the osmosis phenomena. What is the osmosis? that is the movement of the solvent molecules from, that is the higher concentration, to the lower concentration when they are separated by the osmotic membrane. Now similarly exactly that happen in this electroosmosis also. That means the movement of the dispersed phase particle can be stopped or prevented by the membrane, and that is called as the electroosmosis. So the movement of the dispersed phase particle can be prevented or stopped by suitable means such as the use of membrane. It may be the animal membrane or it may be the chemical membrane, but the that is movement of the dispersed phase particle can be stopped or prevented by this suitable means, that is the membrane. Then it is observed that the dispersion medium begins to move in an electric field. Only then the particles of dispersed phase, movement of particle of dispersed phase get stopped, but only the particles of the dispersion medium begins to move in an electric field. This is called as the electroosmosis. By applying the electric field, only the particles of the dispersion medium, that is the molecules of the dispersion medium, are in a motion or movement, but the dispersed phase particles movement get stopped. Now this is called as the electroosmosis. Now let us learn the third electrical property, that is the electrophoresis. Now that is also very important, electrophoresis. Now let us learn the third electrical property, which is also very important, that is the electrophoresis. Now movement of the charged particles to the oppositely charged electrode when electric potential is applied is called as the electrophoresis. We know that the particles of the colloidal dispersions always have some charge. It may be negative or positive. If such colloidal solutions are kept in a U-shaped tube in which two positive and negative electrodes are dipped in that colloidal dispersion, and when the electric potential is applied, then there is the movement of that dispersed phase particles to the oppositely charged electrode. That means if the particles have the positive charge in that colloidal solution, then they migrate to the negatively charged electrode and get deposited there. In this way, they are separated from the dispersion medium. Now this is called the electrophoresis. So what is the definition of electrophoresis? The movement of colloidal particles under an applied electrical potential is called as the electrophoresis. Movement of the colloidal particles on applied of the electrical potential is called as the electrophoresis. Now this is the apparatus which is used for the electrophoresis. This is the U-shaped tube in which two, that is the electrodes are dipped. The apparatus consists of U-shaped tube with two platinum electrodes are dipped in the colloidal solution. When electric potential is applied between these negatively charged anode and positively charged cathode, then what happens? The colloidal particles move towards one or other electrode. That means positively charged particles move towards the anode, that is negatively charged electrode, and negatively charged particle move towards the cathode, that is the positively charged electrode. Now here these particles are migrating, or they go to the, by movement from negative electrode to positive electrode. That means they get migrate toward the positive electrode. That means they definitely have the negative charge on them, and vice versa, that is negatively charged particles migrate toward the cathode, that is the positive electrode, and get deposited on that respective electrode. Now this is about the electrophoresis. Here this is the reservoir through which we can add, that is the colloidal dispersion, and this is the stopcock from which we can again stop this addition of the colloidal solution into that from that reservoir into this U-tube. Now this is the colloidal solution. These are the deposited particles and on the cathode carrying the positively charged, that is, it is the positively charged electrode. So definitely these particles are negatively charged particles and they get deposited here. Now what are the application of this electrophoresis? That is very important. What is the use of electrophoresis? On the basis of direction of colloidal particles under the influence of electric field, it is possible to know the sign of the charge of that particles on that particles. Now here we are seeing that this particle migrate toward the positively charged cathode. That means we know that as the cathode carrying the positive charge, therefore this particle must have the negative charge. So the first application is on the basis of direction of colloidal particles. In which direction that colloidal particles are migrate under the influence of the electric field. So it is possible to know the sign of charge on the particle. And the second application is that it is also used, this electrophoresis is used to measure the rate of migration of Sol particles. We can measure the rate of the Sol particle also by applying the electric field between these two different electrodes in which they are dipped in the colloidal solution. So how is the rate, that is, what is the rate of that colloidal particle? We can measure that rate of the migration of that colloidal particle. Now that is the another use. It is also used, electrophoresis is used to measure the rate of the migration of the Sol particle. Now third is the mixture of colloidal particle can be separated. We can separate the colloidal particle mixture. So if there are so many colloidal particles of different charges are in the mixture, then we can separate them. Mixture of colloidal particle can be separated by electrophoresis because different colloidal particle migrate with the different rates. So the rate of the colloidal particles are different. So we can separate the colloidal particles from their mixture by electrophoresis. Now these are the main applications of electrophoresis. Now this is the about the electrical properties. There are the three electrical properties: charge on the colloidal particle, electroosmosis and electrophoresis. Now in the next lecture we will see the coagulation of that of the colloidal particle, how the colloidal particles can be coagulated. Now if student you understand these electrical property, all these three electrical property, charge on the colloidal particle, electroosmosis and electrophoresis, and also we learn that is about that of the properties, that is color and kinetic property. So if you understand all these property, you can like, subscribe and share this video and tell the another your friends also to view this video, and again tell them to like and subscribe because this is very important for your entrance examination, for your career, and so many MCQs like questions we can set from this knowledge. So best of luck for your career and your next examinations.